Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I have already discussed about that things overview of the model. So now we will create it. Okay, so now we will create one of the models. So right now we don't need this. I just simply remove it from here. So now I want to create one of the table, and also for this table I want to define some of the field. So if you want to create it, first of all you have to define that class. So I just simply define the class, and now I want to create one of the class name as a musician. Okay, and into this musician I just simply define as a models. That means our models library. So I just simply define model, and into this models library I want to inherit one of the model class. So I just simply define as a model. Okay, I just simply define as a model. So now I want to define our field. Like here for the musician table I want to define some of the fast name. Okay, fast underscore name, one of the field, and then with this models library. So with this models library, I want to define some of the type. Like here I define as a character type. Okay, I just simply define as a character field type, and for the character field type I define as a maximum length. Okay, I just simply define as a character length, and character length I just simply define for this field as a 50. Okay friend, and also I want to create another field. So better I just copy it. I want to create three fields. One will be as a first name, one will be as a last name. So I just simply define as a last name, and with these models, that means that is our models library. With this model I want to access our one of the type as a character field type, and for this field I also want to define that maximum length will be as a 50. And also I want to define another field, and this field will be as an instrument. I just name it as an instrument, and with this model I also define the type will be as a character field type, and here I define that maximum length as a 100 character. So I just simply define as a 100 character. And also I want to create another class. So I just simply define as a class. So I just simply define as a class, and here I define that class name as a album. I just simply name it as a album, and it will be just like that same our models library. So into this models library I want to access our one of the inherited with our model class. So I just simply define as a model class. Okay, and now for this one I want to define one of the field, and this field name I just simply define that name as an artist. Okay, I just name it as an artist, and with this models, and with this model I want to call some of the foreign key. Okay, I just name it as one of the foreign key, and I want to create one of the foreign key for our this musician table. So I just simply defining it. And also here I want to share one things with you. By default, when you actually run it, by default this Django automatically created one of the ID. So here you need to create it. Like here automatically it should be created one of the field as a ID, and for this ID it should be defined as a models. Okay, that means with these models automatically it will be defined as auto incremented. That means auto field. Okay, auto field, and also it will be defined as a primary underscore key, and also it will be as a true. So automatically by default this Django automatically created this type of one of the ID. So that is actually by default things. So here it's hidden. So here if you don't want to use it, then you don't need to use it. Okay, so here automatically one of the hidden ID field is created for in particular that Django. So for the reasons here you don't need to defining it. So here I define as a foreign key. Into the foreign key I want to create one of the foreign key for our this musician, that is musician table. So automatically it should be connected with this hidden ID. So here I define as a musician, and also I want to define as a on delete. Okay, I just simply define as on delete, and with these models. Okay, so with these models I want to make that things as a cascade. That means if any musician have any album in particular that position, if you want to delete it, so you cannot delete it directly. For the reasons here I just simply define as a cascade. And also after that I want to take another field name. So I just simply define that another field name will be as a name, and then with these models, and with this model I want to define one of the type as a character field type. Okay, character field type, and for this character field type I just simply define as a max Okay, maximum length, I want to define for this one, that means the name, as a 100 character. And also I want to define another field as a release date, release underscore date. So friend, everything step by step, everything will be very much clear to you. Okay, so don't worry about it. So I just simply define another field as a release date, and for this release date they have also another type as a data field type. So everything is in our model library. So I just simply define as a models. Into this models I want to define another type as a date type. Okay, so I just simply define as a date field. So I just simply define as a date field. Okay, and also I want to take another field for the number star. So I just simply define as a number underscore star. Okay, number stars, and then with this models I want to make the things as an integer field. Okay, I just name it as an integer field for this one. Perfect. So here I have created two of this class. One is the musician class, and for the musician class they have the 3 field, and also there is our another class I have defined as an album, and for this album I have defined that our 4 field, right? So that should be our 4 field. And also as I told you, here also they have already default one of the hidden field. Better I want to add the things for you, like here it will be also one of the hidden field as a ID. And then with these models that have all be also one of the type as an auto field. Okay, auto field, and then it should be as a primary. So it should be as a primary key, and then primary key will be as a true. So here this type of one of the hidden field already added on here. So better I want to make the things as a note. Okay, so that is actually by default one of the things. And also for this table, that means for this class also that have also one of the another ID, in particular that area. So here you don't need to add this ID, it's a hidden one of the ID is automatically created, so you don't need to worry about it. And after that we have to run 3 command. Okay, so now first of all I want to save it. So I just click on the save all and run our project. So here I open our terminal into this terminal. So that is actually our in particular that position. So that is our my first project, right? So now here you first of all you have to migrate it. So if you want to migrate it, they have also one of the command as a Python manage. With this manage file, everything we have to actually call it with our manage file. So into the Python and manage file, then I want to migrate it. So I just simply define as a Python manage file and the migrate. So now I want to migrate this table. So now if you click as a enter, so here they have some of the error is a class musician. So in our line 5, that is our unexpected indent. So maybe they have some of the spaces. Better I just remove that space. Also I just remove that space. Okay. And now let's check this out. I just click on the save all. I just click on the save all again. And now that's all. Now I want to actually run it again. Okay, so I want to run it again as a PHP manage.py and migrate. Click on the enter. Yes, now you can see they have actually some of the spaces error. So now it's migrating all that files successfully. And after that also we have to run our another code. So here we have to run as a Python and then manage.py. And into this manage.py, here we have to make that our migration. So I just simply define as a make migrations. Sorry, I actually pressed that enter key again. So I define as a Python and then manage.py and that make migration. Okay, migrations, and then our name, that means our app name. So our app name is the fast app. Here you can see, friend, I put some of the spelling mistake as a fast FRI. So now it's okay with me. So I want to define our app name. So our app name as a fast FRIST underscore app. So here I have to define our application name. So that is actually our command Python manage.py and make migrations. Okay, make migrations and then our fast app. So now I just click as a enter. So now here you can see it's now created that model as a musician model, and also it's created another model as an album. So here I have created two of this class. One is the musician, another is the album. So it's now perfectly created two of this model. So after that, we have to run again. We have to migrate it again. So if you want to migrate, it will be the same code, Python, and the manage.py, and then migrate. So I just simply define as a Python manage.py and the migrate. So friend, every time whatever that you changes in particular that models area, every time you have to run these three code. One will be as a Python manage.py.migrate, and after that the Python manage.py and the made migrations, and then fast app, and after that again you have to run that Python manage.py and the migrate. Okay friend, so every time whatever the things you will change in particular that position, so every time you have to run these three code. So now I want to click as a enter. So now you can see everything is now perfectly okay. That means we successfully create our database, and into this database we successfully created our two of this model. So that is our two table as a musician table and the album table. So in our next video I have already created two of this model as a musician and the album. So now if you want to insert some of the data, in particular that musician, that field, that means the first name, the last name, and the installment field. So how can add this object into this table? In our next video I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.